Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another Hog Hoops Report. We're going a special edition here. Kevin calling in on the phone. It's because Kevin is he's doing his job. He's boots on the ground in AAU camp in Texas. Kevin, first of all, thanks for roughing the elements, making sure you can still give us some good Hog Hoops info here, despite the fact that you're not in your usual location. You're calling in via the phone.
Yeah, I'm in Texas. Adidas 3SSB the first session for Adidas. Now, this is not a live evaluation period. So we don't have Division I coaches here. We got multiple five-star players in this event, including some players that Arkansas is targeting, recruiting. I've interviewed several of those. So it's been a productive weekend in terms of, keeping up with what's going on in the world of recruiting. We know John Calipari is the maestro when it comes to high school recruiting. And so, if I'm not here, I'm not doing the job, and I'm glad to be here.
Kevin is boots on the ground. You can head over to his X or his Twitter. He's got a lot of good content there, highlights, interviews, all the above. But Kevin, let's hop into it and talk a little bit of NBA draft combine stuff. The list being released for the NBA, seeing Boogie, Adu, Carter on that list to attend the combine invites. That is, what were your impressions of that list being released? What do you expect to see from those three guys NBA draft combine wise?
Yeah, not surprised at all. I was expecting all three to be invited. 75 players, there are 59 picks in the draft. So there'll be some folks participating that'll, at some point will do a U-turn and go back to college if they have remaining eligibility and left that door open, or some that stay in the draft and don't get drafted. Maybe a combination of both, but it's, no surprise whatsoever that those three were selected and invited to it. You look around mock draft boards, Boogie Flan projections late to mid second round, late first round to mid second round. Similarly, you'll see that for Adu Thero. Carter Knox, of course, was a late announcement to enter the NBA draft process. And so, we'll probably see varying degrees of projections for him. Most people I talk to, though, that are, affiliated with the NBA draft, are affected by it, have said they expect he'll end up back at Arkansas. But this is the thing with the combine and then also individual team workouts, the opportunities for him to change minds about that. But the fact that he's invited to the combine, I don't think surprised anybody.
Yeah, last week we talked about with Carter that the majority of the folks that you talked with fully expect him to come back to Arkansas. For, Arkansas fans that are wondering, Kevin, what would it take for, just take Carter Knox as an example. What would it take NBA draft combine wise to change minds in that regard? What type of performance would he have to put on? And just in general, what type of performance do these guys have to put on to raise their stock a little bit?
It just depends. I think for him, it might be a combination of things he would need to do. Maybe some of his measurables and some of his testing to be at the top tier, relative to people that are playing similar position. And then maybe in the competitive stuff, he stands out. Then maybe in the interviews, he impresses teams with his maturity and, demeanor and some of those things. So you see players kind of come out of nowhere. It happens where they put together just a great combine and then it starts to snowball. They pick up some of these individual workouts with teams and they, would continue to be impressive. It probably means he's going to have to check a lot of boxes, in these opportunities coming up, maybe more so than other proven known commodities that maybe don't have to perform as well, where it won't, damage their draft range and draft projections, where someone like him who doesn't have any probably needs to be off the charts or at the, in the 1 percentile in several things, when all these things are evaluated. So right now it's hard to foresee how he could do that. Not saying he can't. And I think that's why the folks, associated with the draft all think, for now anyway, that his only path is to come back to Arkansas. They're not saying he's not an eventual NBA player. They're saying right now, though, that's what it looks like.
Makes sense in terms of Carter. Another guy that's getting invites is John L. Davis, G League Elite Camp. And this was the same camp, Kevin, we were talking a little bit before you and I hopped on here. This was the same camp, him at FAU last year. He got an invite. He declined to attend, but he gets an invite as well coming out of Arkansas here. And, a guy with interesting pro prospects, not really pop up on a lot of draft boards, but a G League Elite Camp invite for Nelly here.
Yeah, he had a good showing at the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, which is for seniors. um, and he did a good job there. And so this is kind of the next thing for him. You're right. Last year he was invited, he declined. He'd agreed to an NIL deal, and knew that he was going to go ahead and transfer to Arkansas. And even though he didn't withdraw formally from the draft immediately, you knew that was coming when he didn't even accept that invitation. Now he's out of college eligibility. It makes sense that he'll definitely be there. And remember now, the G League Elite Camp is a couple of days, and it flows right into the NBA Draft Combine. They're both will take place in Chicago, and several of the top performers in the G League Elite Camp will be invited to go ahead and participate in that combine. So 75 players invited to the combine. That number will actually grow by however many players are then, based on their performance at G League Elite Camp, are also then invited, extended invitations to take part in the combine. So that's what Nelly Davis is trying to do. He's trying to show well at G League Elite Camp, well enough that he gets a chance in the combine. And then you might have 4 Hogs there if he's successful
Yeah,
in the Elite Camp.
interesting to monitor on all 4 of those guys. Obviously, Razorback fans going to be locked and focused on Carter with the potential retention piece there, and hoping to get Carter back on the roster next year. Regardless, John L. Boogie Adu, Carter, all with opportunities here coming up with the combine as well as the G League Elite Camp. Wrapping up here, let's talk a little bit of recruiting, Kevin. You know, it's I think you said earlier, and you've used this phrase before. John Calipari is the maestro of recruiting. That's no different in the class of 2026. You've got more than your fingers and toes can count in terms of 5 stars interested, and trying to line up some potential visits as well in the class of 2026 for the Hogs.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the number 1 player in that class, Tyron Stokes, 6'7" wing guard. He's really a do-it-all, a triple-double machine. You understand why he's the number 1 player in the 2026 class. Arkansas is a team that he is going to eventually set up a visit with. Dates haven't been set, but that's one of the ones he has earmarked. He's already visited Louisville last year, recently took a visit to Kansas. He has a mid-May visit to Kentucky, and then he's also indicated he wants to visit Arkansas, Oregon, and Gonzaga. And so this is no surprise at all. I know the Arkansas coaching staff told me they were efforting a visit, and it may be something that they've actually got scheduled, and it just hasn't gotten public yet and hasn't been put out yet. But this is definitely heading there. And then you just start looking at more 5-star guards, backcourt players. We know Cal excels lately in recruiting, McDonald's All-American guards. The first 2 classes at Arkansas is certainly the case when we get guards and wings. But several players, Jordan Smith Jr., a 6'2" guard that Arkansas is going to get in for a visit after Peach Jam, he has said. So that'll be in July. That's when Peach Jam is, mid to late July. So look for sometime maybe after that, maybe the end of the month of July, maybe sometime in August, that you would see a top 10 rated 5-star guard in. I've interviewed several here at Adidas 3SSB. Tate Kenny from the state of Kentucky. This coaching staff, Calipari, was recruiting him before they came over to Arkansas, have maintained that relationship. And Kenny told me that he will visit Arkansas soon. Didn't give me a date, but another top 20 rated 5-star, 6'2" guard. Just, he is playing, I'm going to say 5D chess out here in the backcourt. No wasted movement, can facilitate, takes good shots, understands how to attack the paint and put pressure on the rim. Just a really good, and just a dog on defense, as they say, really gritty defender, but a really good player. Caleb Holt ranked 3rd, a 6'4", 6'5" shooting guard and wing out of the Atlanta area. Again, a top 5 rated 5-star. He told me when I interviewed him that he's wanting to get a visit with Arkansas. Calipari made him a priority in the fall by going out and seeing him a lot at his school. When Calipari was making so many trips out to see players. And then another one, Deron Rippey Jr., a 6'2" guard out of Blair Academy in New Jersey. Rippey told me today that he's been talking with assistant coach Chuck Martin multiple times recently, and that they're, at some point he figures that they'll maybe look at scheduling visits, and he'd like to look at taking one to Arkansas. So all of this backcourt stuff so far, Jacob, and they're all 5-stars, and we know how Calipari rolls. That's just how he does it. And look, Arkansas, we're going to learn soon what the decision is for, speaking of class of 2026. J.J. Andrews out of Central Arkansas, Little Rock Christian Academy, May 15th is his announcement date, and it's down to Arkansas, Missouri, LSU. And I've always said this, and I'll say it again: as long as Arkansas is competitive with the NIL and playing opportunity as a freshman in terms of what's being told the role will be, in addition to the amount for NIL, if Arkansas is competitive there, they blow they're the leader in the clubhouse because JJ's dad, Sean, was an All-American. He'd be a legacy. His dad was an All-American lineman for the football team back in the day. And of course, it's Calipari. So, in-state kid, I just don't see him going anywhere else unless Arkansas is not with LSU or Missouri in terms of the NIL price tag. And then normally the NIL money is in some correlation with what the expected role and playing time and expected impact is going to be. And so those things go hand in hand. But if, like I said, if Arkansas is in the ballpark with the other two there, I don't see any other way that he's not a Razorback.
11 days away, we will find out on J.J. Andrews. A lot of other exciting recruiting news, especially in the backcourt. Cal gets it done there. He gets it done all over the place, Kevin, but he sure gets it done in the backcourt there. That's going to do it for this week's Hog Hoops Report. Kevin McPherson joining via the phone. We'll be back next week to talk more hoops. Until then, this has been the Hog Hoops Report.